They say ghosts haunt old houses. But what if a machine carried a soul? In the quiet mountains of Sumpter, Oregon, there stands a rusted giant, a massive gold dredge that once ripped through the earth in search of fortune. Locals say it still moves on its own. Lights flicker when no power runs through it. Doors creak open in the dead of night, and sometimes you'll see wet footprints on the deck when there's no rain and no living man aboard. This is the story of Joe Bush, or maybe of Christopher Rowe, the man whose spirit never left the gears that took his life. In 1862, Sumpter was nothing but pine trees and mountain wind. Then gold was discovered. Glittering dust pulled from the Powder River, and men from all across America came rushing in with dreams bigger than the valley itself. By the early 1900s, Sumpter was alive. Booming saloons, the ringing of hammers, and the ceaseless rumble of machinery. But gold mining had changed. Men no longer panned rivers by hand. They used dredges, monstrous floating factories that chewed through the earth like metal beasts. Between 1912 and 1934, 3 such dredges operated here. Each one was built to dig deeper, faster, and harder. But they weren't sophisticated. They were dangerous. Steel teeth biting through mud, engines roaring for hours, cables snapping like whips. And every worker knew one mistake inside those gears, and you were gone. His name was Christopher Rowe, a 29-year-old oiler from Baker County. Quiet man, hardworking, never missed a shift. In the summer of 1918, Rowe was inside the dredge, greasing the massive winch gears before the next shift began. The morning mist hung low over the valley, the river silent except for the clanking of metal. No one saw what happened next. Some say a lever slipped. Others say the machine moved on its own. But suddenly, the gears began to turn, slowly at first, then faster and faster. Christopher didn't even have time to shout. By the time the crew heard the grinding, it was too late. When they reached him, the gears had stopped, and all that was left was silence. They shut the machine down for days. But miners in those times were practical men. There was gold to find, and death was just part of the job. They dismantled the dredge months later, salvaged its parts, and used the same gears to build the new dredge number 3, the one that still stands today at Sumpter Valley Dredge State Heritage Area. What they didn't know was that those gears carried something more than steel. 1940s, a new crew, a new dredge. But something wasn't right. It started small, tools missing, lights flickering, footsteps echoing in the corridors when no one was there. Workers joked about a ghost they called Joe Bush. No one knew who came up with the name, but soon everyone used it. Joe's on night duty, they'd laugh when they found a wrench gone. But laughter faded when the accidents began. One man swore he saw a figure. Grease-covered, pale face, eyes dark as the ore they mined. It disappeared the moment he blinked. Another claimed he heard the gears turning when the engines were off. And then there were the footprints. Wet, muddy prints across the steel deck, appearing out of nowhere and ending at the edge of the dredge. When the foreman inspected the site, there was no water around, no leak, just those footprints and the faint smell of oil. The town's old-timers said it was Rose's spirit, trapped in the gears that killed him. Others insisted it was just the echo of hard work, a ghost born from years of sweat and suffering. But those who worked late shifts knew better. One night, a worker named Henry Lewis stayed behind to fix a jammed conveyor. He kept hearing a faint tapping, metal on metal, like someone was hitting a wrench against the railing. "Hey, who's there?" he shouted. No answer. Then, out of the darkness, came a whisper. Just one word. "Oil." Henry turned, flashlight trembling, and saw a shape move behind the winch housing. A figure, short, broad-shouldered, face hidden by shadow. The flashlight flickered, and when it steadied again, the figure was gone. On the deck below, Henry found something that shouldn't have been there. A handprint, smeared in black grease. After that night, no one worked alone. By the 1950s, the dredge had become a legend. Men told stories of Joe Bush, the ghost mechanic who finished the jobs others left undone. Lunches disappeared overnight. Lights flickered even after the power was cut. Doors swung open with no wind. Some said Joe meant no harm, that he was just doing his work, forever bound to the dredge. But others weren't so sure. In 1953, a night watchman reported seeing a man's reflection in the window. But when he turned, no one was there. He quit the next morning. Years later, when the dredge shut down for good, locals claimed they could still see a faint light inside, like someone carrying a lantern through the empty halls. And when the restoration team came in the 1970s, they found the gears still oiled, smooth, clean, untouched by rust. No one could explain it. Today, the Sumpter Valley Dredge stands as a museum, a silent monument to Oregon's gold mining past. Tourists visit during the day. Families, school trips, curious travelers. But at night, the dredge belongs to someone else. Security cameras have caught flickering lights, shadows that move where no one stands. Park rangers have reported doors opening by themselves, and a few even say they've heard footsteps, heavy boots echoing on the deck just before midnight. The guides still call him Joe Bush, but among the old miners of Sumpter, he's known by another name, Christopher Rowe, the man who never left his post. If you visit the dredge today, you can walk inside it. You can stand beside those same gears, the ones that crushed a man and maybe trapped his soul. And if you listen closely, when the night wind moves through the metal halls, you'll hear it. A faint creak, a slow turn of gears, and maybe a whisper. Oil. Because some machines never stop running, and some men never stop working. This was the ghost of Sumpter Valley Dredge, a story of gold, greed, and a spirit that refused to fade. If you ever find yourself in Oregon and you hear the sound of gears turning in the dark, don't stay too long. Joe Bush is still on shift. Thank you for watching. Hit like if you enjoyed the story, subscribe for more real ghost mysteries, and comment your favorite part below. Remember, some ghosts never leave their post.